This is Carissa Murphy and Katie Enright with Juris Dictum.
Here's part one of our interview with the Honorable Dean Maureen Lally-Green.
Hi, how are you today?
Fine, and how are you?
Good. Can you tell us more about your background growing up? Are you originally from Pittsburgh?
I am originally from far western Pennsylvania in a place called Sharon, Pennsylvania, and grew up in a little tiny place called Sharpsville, Pennsylvania, and then moved to Hermitage. I grew up as the oldest of 8 children and went through the Catholic school system in that area. In 1967, came off to college here at Duquesne. In growing up in this small town with my family, there were, as I said, 8 of us, 5 boys, 3 girls, so we played a lot of sports and competed a lot in various arenas, and it was just a perfect place to grow up and absorb the small town values as then we all went off to the big city.
So you went to Duquesne for your bachelor's degree and your law degree. What made you choose Duquesne?
There's a funny story and then a serious story. The funny story is, being the oldest of 8, my father said, "Mar, you're getting ready to go to college. I don't really want to drive too far. So this is kind of the radius of school, the radius in which we were able to really drive you and come back." And the only school that was totally attractive to me was Duquesne University. So that was the kind of humorous one. The more serious one was that my uncle went here to school, and I had a few friends that had gone here to school, and it was really one of those non-decision decisions because it was the only school to which I applied.
So how does it feel to now be the dean of the law school that you attended?
It's, in a sense, coming home, truly. I walked this campus. I remember what it was like in 1967 when I started. I remember what the law school was like in 1971 when we started down in Rockwell Hall. That's where we were. And I've always remained close because I was a professor of law here for many years in the late 80s and through the 90s before I went to the bench. And then I taught in an adjunct capacity through the 2000s. So I've always kind of been connected. But to walk on the campus every day, reliving sometimes the experience in the memory part of things, but also being with students again, it's just the best. It's really a wonderful part of my life to be here.
When you were a law student, what was the dream job for you? Where did you see yourself going?
I actually was focused in tax, and I really thought I would be in the area of tax. Those courses were ones that I seemed to grab onto rather quickly, and I thought a dream job would be to work with an accounting firm or a law practice that dealt with taxation. So my first job was in estate planning. But as the markets changed around and the firm kind of readjusted itself, the 2 youngest hires had to look for jobs elsewhere. And so I did, and I found a job in Washington, D.C. It was a wonderful job with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. And I transferred out of Pittsburgh into the big city, Washington, D.C., with this brand new agency. A dream job is just a dream. And then you just take opportunities as they come along. And frankly, each opportunity yields a wonderful experience that not only prepares you for the next one, but brings a more fuller appreciation of the practice of law.
So from 1998 through 2009, you served as judge of the Superior Court of Pennsylvania. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience being a judge?
Sure. The Superior Court is a statewide appellate court. We don't do any trial work with trials and juries and all of that. We're purely appellate. And I still call the Superior Court the Court of the People. In Pennsylvania, we have a right of appeal through the Constitution, and that right of appeal for the people is usually to our court. The Commonwealth Court is a court that is, in a sense, a more specialized court dealing with appeals from agencies, etc. So, being that it is a people's court, we got to see issues affecting people. And to me, it was the greatest of all privileges to be able to review a record and to be deep in the law. I loved every minute of my job. Certainly, it was a tremendous privilege to serve there.
So you've had a very diverse law career, including working as an associate at a Pittsburgh law firm. You talked about working in D.C. So how do you think your diverse background will benefit you as a dean?
I think the diverse background allows for an appreciation of the incredible opportunities each of you have. I feel my life has been very blessed, not only with the good things that have come into my life, but also the good people that have come into my life. And I say a lot of those people are lawyers and judges. So this diverse background allows for possible bringing color to a concern or an inquiry a student may have, or being able to reach out into the community and say, I have a student who's interested in this, or to create a possibility here at the law school for something to happen, just because I had a little familiarity with the issue. There are some issues I don't know anything about, but then hopefully there's somebody out there I've crossed paths with that does. So it's an exciting time, I think, here at the law school, not necessarily because I am here, but because of all the opportunities you have.
So is there one case that you worked on as a lawyer or that you reviewed as a judge that you found particularly interesting or you feel made a lasting impression on you?
There was one case, and it dealt with the strain an appellate judge has between following the established law or saying the law should pivot to a different result. The question we had was public policy and how we adjusted established precedent with the public policy of the times. And that was a difficult question. And we, as among my colleagues, we talked about it a lot. And we were able to persuade that we shifted the precedent to a new precedent because the times had changed. And they should change. The policy should change in terms of fundamental fairness to all involved.
Thank you for tuning in. Check in next week for part 2.